Hey Theo, you're a pretty successful founder and a pretty successful YouTuber. How do I make a good YouTube channel for my company? Here's the trick. You don't. Seriously, YouTube isn't a growth hack. YouTube is where you do the growth hacking. As a person who has spent a lot of their life being an engineer and now running a company, YouTube is harder than both of those tasks. Doing well on this platform is a very difficult thing, and it requires a certain level of novelty and innovation. I pretty firmly believe that an individual, or certainly like a group like a company, can only be innovating on one focused aspect at a time. And if you're running a company that's pushing the limits of anything really, which if you're at a startup, you're probably trying to innovate somewhere, YouTube is not the place to innovate. Innovation on YouTube is incredibly difficult. I know, I've been doing it for a while. It is super rewarding, but that is not your job as a company. The reason it's worth it for me to build my YouTube presence isn't because it brings a bunch of value back to the company. If anything, it's taking it away because I'm distracted from shit I should be working on. The value of my YouTube channel comes from the community I've built and from the relationship I have with my audience. It's a very personal relationship between me and the audience. And when you have a company logo between those, it suddenly becomes exponentially harder to build that relationship in the first place. How many company YouTube channels are you subscribed to? If you actually have an answer to that, that's not zero. How many of those channels do you actually check regularly? And are they really companies or are they talent agencies where you're there for a specific group of people you're familiar with that just happen to have a name for their collective? Because realistically, you're not watching company YouTube channels. I know because I'm not either, and I watch a lot of YouTube. People don't like interacting with brands. They like interacting with people. And the value of a platform like YouTube doesn't come from your ability to shill your brand as a logo. It comes from your ability to communicate the value of your brand through the voices of human beings who have built relationships with your intended audience. If you want to spend money to make your company successful on YouTube, don't spend it making a goddamn channel. Spend it paying YouTubers who have the audience you want to reach to make good content about your things. It's insane to me how many companies have 14-person DevRel and marketing teams where 5 people's job is running a YouTube channel that posts 4 videos a week with 20 views each. And it's painfully common. It is absurdly common. I actually just got a funny example that hurt me enough to almost immediately jump into making this. It's actually 2 YouTube channels that are super cringe. Somebody mentioned that Chipotle has a YouTube channel. So if I go here and search Chipotle, the channel doesn't even come up because Chipotle content reaches much further through Joshua Wiseman's brand or End of VR or whatever his brand, or these people, or the Try Guys who is people. Human beings have much further reach when they talk about Chipotle than Chipotle itself. Oh, I misspelt it. It's not going to make a difference. Chipotle still doesn't come up when you search Chipotle on YouTube. Even though not only do they have 1 channel, they have 2. They have the Chipotle Mexican Grill channel with less subs than me, even though I've been posting regularly on YouTube for less than a year, and I still have more subs than them. They're like paying talent to come in and do content and collabs with them, and it gets no viewership. This one's probably just an ad, which is why the number is so inflated. They're probably using the channel to upload an ad that gets placed, but there's no way people are actually clicking these things. You can tell the views on these things that have a time on the end are very different. Yeah, it's insane. So as cringe as the Chipotle YouTube channel is, and it's pretty cringe, we can go deeper. Chipotle careers. What this channel says to me is there's a person whose job at Chipotle was YouTube. And since there was so little for them to post, they convinced Chipotle to let them make a second channel so they'd have more to do. And they can continue making these videos. To be fair, 2 years ago, they probably got laid off by now. 2 years ago, they were filming these videos with 480 views. The only value these things bring is giving a person you shouldn't have hired something to do during their day. That's the only value of company YouTube channels. It makes you feel like you're doing something. And it is so easy as a founder and as a leader at a company, or even a leader of a small team at a company. It's so easy to feel like you're doing something and to trick yourself into doing things so you feel like you're making progress, like hiring, like marketing, like iteration on features you know nobody's going to use, upgrading your tech when your bills are fine. Like there's so many types of these, I need a good term for it, like ego trap, I guess. There's so many of these ego traps that convince you as a leader that you're making progress when you're really just moving in circles. And I see this so often. YouTube is one of the most common places I see it, where companies spend all of this time and money and effort trying to find users on YouTube when they're never going to watch their content. Do you know where your users are on YouTube? They're in my goddamn audience. If you want to reach users on YouTube and you want to find customers using YouTube, you either better be deep on AdSense, or if you're realistic, you need to be working with the creators who have the audience you're trying to reach. The growth hack of YouTube is taking advantage of the hard work we put in, not pretending you can cheat easier way through it. Just one more fun example. And this one's fun because it's 50-50, where it's a company YouTube channel, which obviously I don't agree with, but they found a strategy to help it do better. This is the Vercel YouTube channel. I'm partnered with Vercel. I work with them a lot. But if we go to their most popular videos, you'll notice by a decent bit, I have the most popular video on the channel. And this video is a talk I gave at NextConf. The value of Vercel's channel only goes as far as the furthest reaching community people they collaborate with and bring on. And I think they recognize that, and they work hard to make sure they collaborate with creators like myself to have their brand reach way further than their channel. And what's really funny is when I talk to other companies that are trying to consult with me on how to make their YouTube channels blow up, every single one of them, when I ask what YouTube channels are doing well, they cite Vercel's channel. And again, Vercel's channel is doing well because they know who to work with outside of Vercel. I hope I've made this point clear because I'm really tired of talking about this. Company YouTube channels are a terrible idea. And if you're running one now, you've probably felt frustrated about the lack of success for a bit. This is your permission to give up. It's not worth it. If your company wants to use YouTube as a strategy, you can. There's one really good way to do that and one mid but functional way to do that. The good way to do that is to find the creators that you want to talk to that have the audiences you want to work with and work with that creator. Just pay them to use your thing, talk about your thing, review your thing, whatever else, and use that as your method to reach the users. And if you really want to have an employee whose job is running YouTube internally, they should run it on their own channel with their own name, because it's way easier for that creator to build trust with humans if their brand is a human, not a company. And the value of that channel is only the value of the people that are being followed on it. If you really want an employee whose job is running a YouTube channel, let them put their goddamn name on it and it will do significantly better. And that goes for the Sweetwater Guitar Company or Google Devs or whoever else. If all of them had branded assets around their names, it would work much better for the company and obviously for the employees as well. And anybody saying, but the employees can leave? Yeah, that's how your channel dies anyways. And it never was going to get there in the first place. Let's be realistic. What's better here? A channel that on average gets 500 to 2,000 views, that costs you $30,000 per video and has to go through your legal team for every single change because it represents your brand. So each video probably costs you 50 grand minimum. Or one person at your company who makes videos on their channel. It doesn't have to be cleared because it's not officially your brand, even though they're constantly vouching it and pushing it. And if they quit, the assets are still there. You can put it in the contract they have to leave the videos up. And now you have somebody else that you pay to do the same thing. It's obviously better. And anyone saying otherwise is just coping. Is just, y'all are living in 2005 if you think otherwise. You're wrong. I hope this was helpful. If you like this rant, you should check out the one I'll pin here. It's about the YouTube algorithm and how it actually recommends things. And from there, it might be a little clearer how to find success on YouTube. But yeah, don't do it for your company. Do it for yourself. Hope this was helpful as always. Peace, nerds.